Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q1 FY22 earnings conference call of Power Mech Projects Limited, hosted by Nirmal Bang Equities Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mayank Bhandari from Nirmal Bang Equities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rutuja. Nirmal Bang Equities welcome you all to the 1Q FY22 results conference call of Power Mech Projects Limited. Management is represented by Mr. S.K. Ramaiah, Director Business Development, and Mr. J. Satish, Chief Financial Officer. I now hand over the call to the management for their opening remarks, post which we can take questions from the participants. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Mayank. Good evening, all friends. And thank you all for joining the earnings conference call for the quarter ended 30th June, financial year 21-22. And along with me, I have Mr. S.K. Ramaiah, Director Business Development, and also Jigar from SGA, our Investor Relation Advisors. We hope you and your family members are safe, healthy, and continue to take all the precautionary measures necessary to keep COVID-19 at bay. The quarter began with a lot of promise and offered that hope of continuing the momentum gathered in the last quarter of FY21. We would have all noticed the execution level during quarter 4 of last year was all-time high in the journey of Power Mech. The execution level in a year is cyclical for our industry. Quarter 3 and quarter 4 normally add more turnover as compared to quarter 1 and quarter 2 in a year. For the year quarter 1, again we demonstrated all-time high execution level for the first quarter in the journey of Power Mech history. This gives us a lot of confidence in our operations for the rest of the year. During second wave of COVID, there were no shutdown in sites or major disruptions like the first wave last year. It still made the company adopt a cautious approach to operations. We continue to follow all necessary guidelines to safeguard our employees at all our sites, as well as ensuring that construction and maintenance of operations are running smoothly. With the thrust on infrastructure development throughout the country, the number of opportunities, especially for an established and recognized player like Power Mech, are significant. Given the multi-domain approach adopted by the company over the past few years, each of these segments offer tremendous growth opportunities in alignment with our long-term objectives and targets. More importantly, the company is no longer restricted by geographical limitations and with a proven track record has made a pan-India presence, and the coming few years will see deepen its existing and widen its potential international presence too. To update with you this quarter's development before we open up the floor for your question and answer session. The reported total income for quarter 1 FY22 is rupees 628 crores and the EBITDA is rupees 71 crores and the reported PAT is 31 crores. Whereas quarter 1 of last financial year, the total income was rupees 276 crores. The reported EBITDA was negative by 12 crores and PAT was negative by rupees 33 crores. And the revenue mix for quarter 1 FY21-22 is as follows. Mechanical business has contributed rupees 137 crores, civil around 285 crores, operation and maintenance close to 173 crores, and the electrical business added rupees 28 crores, and other income close to 6 crores. In the same quarter during the previous year, the mechanical business contributed 60 crores, civil it was around 74 crores, O&M 120 crores, and electrical business it was 20 crores. The execution cycle is on a continuous uptrend over the last 2 quarters of the previous year. This quarter, the momentum briefly maintained at a healthy level. While it cannot be compared to the same quarter last year, sequentially over the quarters, the execution was 100% during quarter 1 of FY 21-22. Now, you would have all seen Power Mech has developed a bandwidth in terms of infrastructure and capability to execute large projects in the range of 600 to 800 crores per quarter, and the credentials to take on projects without partnering with larger players in most of the SBUs, which would not just cement the company's position as a credible player, but also add to the margins going forward. Coming to the finance cost, there has been on the downward trend because a lot of measures taken by the management in terms of maintaining debt level, and you would have not seen the present net debt level stands at 330 crores as of now. Similarly, receivable cycle is continued to be around 65 days to 75 days, excluding BHEL and EMTZ project, and the change in receivable cycle is due to change in the business mix and the customer mix. Further, the monthly collection cycle is continued to be healthy in the range of 200 to 230 crores per month. This we have noticed in last 4-5 months, and this trend is improving month on month. We ended the previous year on a high order inflow, and the order book position and the momentum will continue during the year too. We have been able to close some very good quality orders and are working on other long-term orders across all our business verticals. Overall, the company added close to 9,637 crores of orders during this quarter. Considering these orders, the order backlog today stands at 16,348 crores, including MDO project, and the present order backlog stands at 7,054 crores if we exclude the MDO project. This gives a healthy order book for the execution cycle. That was one of the reasons quarter 4 of last year and quarter 1 of this year has been healthy. And the momentum cycle will continue to be healthy the way we used to guide in quarter 4. And we're confident that the target we have set for the management will continue to stand. Now I request Mr. Kodan Ramaiah sir to add few more developments in the business BD. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Welcome to the quarter 1 call of 2021-22. Yeah, continuous update of Satish. Yeah, certain developments I would like to state that. I think last year had been an exceptionally good year in terms of adding to the backlogs. At the end of the year, 1,333 crores. And we had seen a major addition of nearly 4,638 crores. Now, how to continue the journey in the present forum, and also that will help us to augment our conversion capabilities also. That is being demonstrated in the first quarter in spite of the COVID second wave conditions. One positive thing is that, as Satish said, there have been no shutdowns in our sites, and we are continuing to ramp up the capacities of the manpower. What the pre-COVID of 8,000 the working strength has now almost doubled up now. That should give us the confidence that the conversion will be on track in the current year with the backlog of orders what we have got. The key development in the current quarter has been the Singareni Colliery signing of the O&M contract 5 years. This is a very important contract for Power Mech. In terms of its technology, in terms of application and customer requirements. It is a comprehensive O&M where we do both the control room operation and the offsite operation, outside the control room operation. That has gives us a quantum jump into the O&M capability in future also, to scale up the operations to take control of the control room operations also. That is a major add-on. Of course, taking that into account and also the conversion which has happened in the first quarter, the the present backlog stands around 7,054 crores. And in the mechanical jobs is 2,232 crores, civil it is 3,300 crores, O&M 1,339 crores, and electrical 184 crores. That is what the break of the backlog. Now, in terms of the domestic and international business, the major portion is in domestic. It's on the orders what we accumulated in the last year. Almost 87-88% is in the domestic side. Backlog 6,189 crores, and the international is over 865 crores, 12.3%. Now, in the case of power to non-power, the power sector business is around 4,822 crores backlog, and the non-power sector is 1,232. Therefore, that is how it is as on today. Then, of course, in the current plan, we are looking at a lot of new opportunities based on the new investment is coming in various segments in the energy sector and in the infrastructure sector, and then the metals and mineral sectors. All these things, around 10,000 crores of opportunities we are presently tracking, and we have submitted the offers in different segments in metals, minerals, roads, O&M, and various other projects, and including the railways. Therefore, at least the progress and the achievement should be on par with the last year. With some of the key opportunities, what we are tracking now is NMDC. Two major opportunities are there. One is for the mineral processing. This is the first time we are attempting a EPC technology tender with a joint venture partner, FL Smith of Chennai. And then another tender for the crushing and mineral handling process in the Indian Beach at Kirandul. And that is also we are partnering with another world leader in ThyssenKrupp also. These are the two major tenders. Apart from that, we are also working on one more mineral processing plant for Hindustan Zinc Limited. This is in partnering with FL Smith. And presently in Kurja, we have taken a lead by giving a support to ThyssenKrupp for the NTPC 2 into 660 megawatt. They are technically placed on L1, and they are expecting an order shortly. ThyssenKrupp, since we have given a support for the coal handling plant, that is around 350 to 360 crores. We hope to get that order in the second quarter. Now, these are the major opportunities. Then, in terms of current year, we continue to keep our bullish on keeping our target of 4,500 crores, and in the various segments in installation, civil, O&M, and electrical. We hope we will meet those targets with the opportunities available. That's what I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Prateeksha Daftari from Equitas Investment. Please go ahead.
Good evening. Okay, my first question was that this time the order inflow was particularly low. I think apart from the mining order, we just had inflow in O&M section. So if you could highlight if there are any issues with tender finalization or any other.
Yeah, not exactly, madam. You see that one tender which we are lowest along with ThyssenKrupp, they are the lowest. But once we get their order is expected perhaps in June. There was some delay in that. Now maybe in the first week of September it will come. That's what we hope to close that order. And we are also following a couple of O&M orders also with the JSW, and that should also happen in the second quarter. And the railways, about 4 or 5 tenders we have given it, valued about 1,000 crores. at least 50% of the orders should mature out based on the competition. But as I said earlier, there are plenty of opportunities. In fact, we are trying to choose the opportunities. And another 2-3 tenders we are working with ThyssenKrupp. Pakri Barwad about 175 crores. Then Talavera about 80 crores. We are working with them. I told you about Jinzuzan Zinc Limited also. We are working with FL Smith. Then railway electrification jobs around 2,000. We are looking at it. And all these things, and then one road project is there. Therefore, with all these things, it is normally first quarter. Sometimes, the backlog will not happen because of variety of decision-making process, and also tenders have to be called or something like that. Therefore, we hope we'll be on the track for the current year also.
Okay. And last time, sir, we had mentioned that, the actual availability of labor was a little bit lower than the required labor. So how does this quarter look like, and how do you think going ahead? Do we see any labor availability issues?
No, I told you in my opening remarks, during the peak COVID time, we had a 50% shortfall in the labor. That is last first and second quarter of the 2021. But now it has almost come to the normal. That's why the conversion itself speaks for that 622 crores what we achieved in the first quarter, compared to last year's almost less than 50% of that. That shows that the labor strength is more or less back to normal. Therefore, with that, we should be able to continue to get a better results, except maybe the second quarter because being a rainy season. But I am sure third and fourth quarter will ramp up to more than 700 crores each.
Okay, got it. And just last time we had mentioned that there were certain COVID-related extra expenses that we had incurred, and then certain impacts of second wave that we were anticipating, which had impacted the margin. So do we expect that kind of expenses to be more sustaining in nature, and hence the margins shall stay impacted?
No, see the margin trend now we are seeing it's improving. Okay, the COVID-related expenses, yes, in quarter one and quarter two, because we cannot ignore the protocols of the customers and the local. So there would be some cost which we need to incur things till these things get settled down fully. Okay, maybe the quantum is coming down. What used to be 2-3 quarters back, and now that in terms of expenditure it is coming down. But still, yes, it will continue to add some cost. Maybe next 1-2 quarters will continue to be there.
Okay. And if you could just share the receivables as on 30th June along with retention money.
The receivable is around close to 495 crores, and the retention money is against it's in the range of 280-285 crores.
280 crores.
Yeah.
And net debt as on June you said is 330 crores.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anupam Gupta from IIFL Capital. Please go ahead.
On the revenue, Mr. Did you say 700 crores in the second half?
Gupta, but your voice is breaking. We cannot hear you. Can you please?
Is this better? Is this better? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, this is much better.
Yeah. So my first question is on the revenue run rate, which Ramaiah said. Was that number 700 crores per quarter in the second half, or higher than that? Because your order book obviously supports higher than that.
Quarter 3, quarter 4, yes, we are confident run rate could be more or less the same, what you've indicated, or maybe slightly more. Okay, quarter 2, it's a mix of monsoon and all. So quarter 1, quarter 2, you will see normally low as compared to quarter 3 and quarter 4.
Right. Okay. And secondly, of the 7,054 crore order book, what portion is under execution at this point of time? What incrementally will come up in execution over the next couple of quarters? If you can just give some picture there.
No, see, now all the projects on ground started. The backlog, what we are carrying, all the projects have started.
So 7,754 entirely is under execution at this point of time.
Under execution. So for this year, FY 21-22, the execution what we were planning is for the substance will come from the existing order only.
Okay. Understand.
Actually, this year we have started new projects which are coming. Buxar we have started 176 crores. Then we have started in Kurmitar 198 crores. Then the road projects are picking up now. Water projects also is going to start in July. It started in July. Therefore, a lot of projects which were bagged last year in the third and fourth quarter, now that conversion is going to start now.
Okay. Understand. Secondly, you are bidding for quite a few projects with FLSmidth or Thyssen. What is the nature of the partnership? To be clear, what do they do and what do you do?
I think this is a typical partnership bringing the strengths from both the organization. It is based on a consortium philosophy. Both with the Thyssen Group and FLSmidth, we entered a consortium that is joint and several responsibility. That is the basis on which PSUs accept the tender, because we take the single point responsibility for entire site execution, including engineering of the civil and structural portion. And Thyssen Group is a technology partner. They will take the technology part of the entire engineering and equipment supply and the overall plant engineering input. And then they also supervise and take care of the commissioning and guarantees for the entire plant once it is completed. That is how it is. Similarly, the relationship with FLSmidth also, which we have entered for the one tender we have quoted for the Bacheli. And the same lines, that is single point responsibility for Power Mech in the case of site execution, including engineering of civil and structural. And then engineering responsibility of the plant engineering responsibility with FLSmidth, and the technology part of all the equipment supplies in their scope. But here, some equipment in unique thing in the case of Bacheli is that we are also doing some equipment portion on the balance of plant, not on the process side. Non-process side, support utility parts, electrical control instrumentation, and systems. All those things we are trying to source directly, and we are tied up with the reputed vendors for that.
Okay. So in this case, the entire revenue will flow through your P&L, and you'll share some margins with Thyssen and FLSmidth.
It is 70-30, something like that. 70% of the whatever comes, if it happens, it will be for PMPL. Balance it will go to the Thyssen with the FLSmidth. Whereas in the case of Thyssen Group, the ratio is slightly different. It may be around 60-40.
Okay, so you'll have only 60% of revenue effectively. Right. Consortium, so we will take our contract value only. So to the extent of our contract value only, the turnover will flow.
So your order book will also reflect accordingly, right? Order book will be 60% of the order book effectively.
You're right, sir. It's to the extent of our value only will reflect.
In fact, this percentages value of the contracts that respective partners is mentioned in the bid itself.
Right. Okay. And the margins in these projects would be similar to what you generally do, 11-12%, or slightly lower because you are sourcing technology?
I will tell you what has happened. Now we are given the first bid. We are done. Technical discussions have started. Then negotiations will begin. Negotiation means when the deviations, PSUs, there is no initial negotiation. It's mostly on the terms and conditions they negotiate. Then the Bacheli, we have completed the one set of negotiations. And then in the case of Nagarnar, the other tender with participating in Thyssen Group, we have to start it. We would like to keep slightly better margins looking at our present order backlog, but ultimately they are big ticket tenders. We would like to see what is the best we can get it, and based on the limited competition also. In both the cases, only 2 parties are there.
Okay, understand. Just one last question on the MDO order which you have won. What is the sort of capex, equity investment which you will do in the SPV, and what is the capex that the SPV will do in the first 2 years, and what sort of ramp up in production and revenue do you see there?
Yeah, this project will be executed, as you said, it will be executed at SPV level. So the capex and the additions will happen only at the SPV level.
Right.
So, yeah, so the first development will be over a period of 2 to 2.5 years. So over a period of time, we need to infuse around 80 to 85 crores of equity our portion. Of that, 74% is ours and 26% is the JV.
So 80 to 85 is the total equity, of which 74% will be your share.
Yeah, that has to come from Power Mech and the rest will come from a JV.
Okay. And what is the total capex which they need to do, the SPV needs to do?
It's the development period. It's around 280 crores of development infrastructure and infrastructure cost we need to spend. That includes CHP and all other like township related expenses like drainage, electrical system,
Right.
storage and everything. So the put together will be close to 280 crores.
And
Sorry.
And you have the site in terms of clearances, land acquisition, all that has already been done, or it's in the process at this point of time?
Yeah, the land it's actually we are working as a contractor. It's the responsibility of the owner. South of 1100 hectares is already 840 hectares is already acquired, because it's being a notified forest land. So that task is completed. So land acquisition is well in control. Now the approval part, it would take some time, where now along with the developer and the owner together we are working to see that next 6 to 8 months the approvals are in place so that we can start the ground activity.
Okay. And just one last question on this in terms of, I assume this will be take or pay in terms of volume, right? So how is the volume ramp up and whether take or pay is confirmed, and is there an end use for this which is known for your mind?
Yeah, because the minimum quantity is 5 million tons per annum. That's the arrangement which the CCL has to take. So the end use, so they have got back to the end users because the coking coal, there's a lot of demand now. Okay. But the responsibility of end use it's the customer. Our role is to ensure that we deliver 5 million tons per annum.
Okay. You said it is coking coal, to be specific.
Yeah, coking coal. Yeah. True.
Okay. Understand. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question, please press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Dixit Doshi from Whitestone Financial Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Couple of questions from my side. Firstly, in this JV, you mentioned 280 crore capex to be done over a couple of years. So whatever the revenue booking will come only from the third year, right?
You're right, sir.
Okay. Now, you earlier also mentioned, and even in last call, that we are targeting around 4,500 crore of fresh orders in FY22. So I suppose this is excluding this Coal India project.
Yes, sir. It is not part of that. As you said, it's rightly correct. So Q1 we had a target of 550 crores. We could able to book 330. Though we have sourced the orders, but still in N1 stage, so which Mr. Rame was mentioning. So probably first week we may add few more. First week of next month we may add few more orders. So the target is excluding the MDO 4,000 to 4,500 crores, and we are the target.
Okay. Right. That's it from my side. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Faisal Hawa from SG Hawa and Company. Please go ahead.
10,800 crore kind of an order book and another 5,000 crores coming. Then can we not do a much better revenue in 21-22 ended rather than the target which you just mentioned in the opening remarks? And secondly, sir, how do you feel that more orders could come in from Coal India for different geographies now that they are moving on to clear-cut privatization of operations?
Yeah. You see, the orders what is going to flow also in this year, it will take a couple of months to start. We are already in the second quarter end. Maybe third quarter, if it will some of these major orders are now. Then in the fourth quarter, we'll take away a lot of engineering work, initially preparatory mobilization work. That is how we are not counting. But if it starts, it will add on to that, maybe 100, 200 crores maximum. but we are not taking that into account. Whatever our present plans, what we have made, around plus 2,500 to 600 crores of the current year's turnover is based on the backlog what we have built up to the last year.
So we could be in line for more such orders from different other zones.
Regarding Coal India jobs, Coal India job, that is particularly that Kotre Basantpur, that will happen only from the third year onwards. That is maybe 2016, this one, 14 end or 15.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Faisal?
We can get it from we can get more such orders from different other zones of Coal India.
Now, that is a matter of taking a call in that investment and then the type of opportunity available and then the project feasibility and then how much we would like to take it also. And then here it was a specific coking coal related, and there is a lot of demand in that, and there is a sure commitment for offtake for the entire period of the operation. That those things we have to see. Conventional coal and all, that is a different aspect of it. We have to take a call on that case to case.
So to start with, we have to first stabilize this project. So we'll see how things will move going forward. But now to start with, we'll focus on this project.
It will also being a very big opportunity forward in the next 2 to 3 years. And is the railways now, moving like how the road ministry has moved and with bigger orders and faster movement on tendering, etc.
And the road sector?
Railways, sir. Are they also now as swift as the road sector?
Yeah, road sector we are participating. We are already executing 2 jobs. One is in northeast, another is in Karnataka, nearly around 1,000 crores. And already about 78% of the work has been completed in each of the projects. Therefore, we established there. Now we would like to look at some opportunities. Then NHA and NHBAPL offers a lot of opportunities. We have to select the specific projects and take a call on that.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Poddar from HDFC Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question. So congratulations on good quarter. Regarding the NMDC opportunity, what could be the size of these 2 opportunities, sir?
It can be 500 to 1,000 crores.
Per opportunity. So
combined.
Yeah. Okay. And this would be again like an MDO where it will run for longer period, or?
No, they are all EPC contracts.
Okay. Sorry.
Not on the BO or BOP, no.
Okay, understood. And sir, what was the OCF for this quarter, operating cash flows?
Pardon?
Sorry, sir, can you repeat?
The operating cash flow for this quarter, and what was the movement in working capital?
Yeah, operating cash flow is positive, sir. It's around 28 crores positive first quarter. Okay.
Right, and you also give movement in working capital?
Yeah, the receivable now, if you see, like it was there 535 to 540 crores last quarter. Now that has come down to close to 500 crores. And the inventory level, it was there close to 120 crores. Now it's coming around 105 to 110 crores.
Okay.
And the retention money, it's in spite of growth in the business, that still continued to be around 280, 285 crores. The reason being there is some good amount of collection from the finance bill. So that is helping us to support the new projects.
Right. And so in terms of bills outstanding, in terms of retention money and receivable, could you give that number also, how the movement is there?
Yeah, BHL, it's now on average 7 to 8 crores we are collecting towards the finance bill. Now the Unchar project, BHL and NTPC JV, we collected last 40 days, we collected close to 20 crores. That's a good amount of realization. Now you'll see that, of course, and this Maitri and all, it's the regular projects in terms of collection. It's very good. BHL Maitri is around 60-65 days, and in India it's coming 75 to 80 days. Okay, but in terms of final bill, 78 crores collections every month. That's a very good momentum. That's helping a lot in terms of operating cash flow. So we're expecting this 25 to 30 crores of operating cash flow should continue and help us.
Right. And just the last bit on the retention money, how should we see the movement here?
So retention money, see, it was there 340 crores. Now it is every month you see that the trend is coming down. Now 285 crores in spite of we executing 750 crores last quarter and this quarter 600 plus. Okay, still the number is coming down. That's an indication of the money is coming down. So you'll see that this number towards the end of this year may be close to 270 or 265. Okay, so to see that the relation happening and with the new additions, at the end the net cash inflow is more to the system, so that will help to mobilize the new projects.
Right, understood. And given the execution will be stronger this year compared to last year's top line of 1900 crore, you're talking about 2800 crore, 3000 crore this year. Still the operating cash flow will be 28 crore positive per quarter. So that number.
See, maybe quarter two slightly maybe lesser than that, because see, quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. Okay, the moment you see quarter one, quarter two will be less. Overally, in that range, we will be able to execute maybe quarter three, quarter four, maybe slightly more. Okay, the idea is to focus on the final bill. So I think we should be able to do that.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir. Congratulations. All the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Maheshwari from SkyRidge Wealth Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So I have only one question regarding your PAT margins. So, sir, considering that things are almost back to normal and we are already operating at full potential, so you think maybe 5.5-6% is possible for the entire year?
So there is lot of potentials to go towards that number. Now things are improving. So if you see quarter four of last year and quarter one of this year, lot of improvement in terms of our execution cycle and all. Now we're hopeful that the EBITDA margins should gradually go up to our normal margins. With that, the finance cost, we're trying to bring it down every quarter to some extent, so that that comes to a very respectable level. So with that, the PAT should definitely go up, and the depreciation also, if you see, not much additions are happening. Though it used to be 11 to 11.5 crores per quarter, now that has come down to 9 crores, which itself indication of capex not much happening. So there is possibility that gradually it should improve, sir, in the medium term.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. That's it from my end. All the best to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rishikesh Oza from Robo Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. So my question is, hello?
Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah, sir. So my question is, what EBITDA margins can we expect ahead? And also, if you could guide on order inflow for this year.
Yeah. In terms of margins, there is a potential, sir, to improve gradually, because we are working with a very challenging environment. Okay, things have not completely settled down, because COVID-1 we thought, now COVID-2 has come down. But the difference is, working with COVID now we are used to. Okay, fortunately sites were not under lockdown and all the sites are working. So at least we should come back to our normal margins gradually. And in terms of order target, as we were mentioning, we are confident that 4,000 to 4,500 crores of orders will add this year.
4,500 is the order inflow for this year, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Does this answer your question?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mayank Pandari from Nirmal Bang Equities. Please.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Sir, I wanted to know how is the unbilled revenue portion in our balance sheet moving? I think that is about 400 or 450 crore.
Yeah, it is now it's coming down because the BHL final bills and all, okay, and especially the revenue mix is changing. So in terms of mechanical and O&M, the certification happens quickly, but whereas in terms of civil and all, wherever the material component is involved, that certification is slightly takes longer time as compared to the erection O&M. So apart from that, the BHL pie of the final bills, wherever the final bills are involved, the certification takes slightly longer time. Now that pie is coming down, so gradually you'll see that the amount will come down.
So sir, how much it can come down in next 2 years?
As of now, it's around the 385 to 395 crores. Okay, so maybe this should come down to 350 to 360 crores. Okay, that is the target now. That should come down slowly.
Okay.
The volume. Because as a percentage, if you see, because it depends how much of execution we are doing in a quarter, and especially in the last month, that depends for that quarter. So once the final bills and all get cleared, so probably what will happen is you'll see that the 1 month or 1.5 month bill, that will be the bills where we'll see that pending certification. So as a percentage, it will come down now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sir, when you say normalized margin, how much exactly? Like, is it 12 to 13% something?
Yeah, that is what we are working towards. Because now there is a change in the revenue mix. Okay, there is some supply component also involved. So with change of business mix and the addition of some of the non-recurring expenses, we have to see that both are balanced. So the idea is first to get into the normal margins and then probably to take it up gradually to a higher margin of 14% to 14.5%.
Sorry sir, with what? 13%?
See, the normalized is around 12.5 to 13.5%.
Okay.
And you'll see that in medium term, it may also go up to 14 to 14.5%.
Okay. Sir, sequentially, this quarter staff cost has increased to 95 crore, whereas the revenue was 60. So this staff cost is going to be constant going forward?
Yeah. See, there were some, because of two reasons. One is like we added this Singareni College, okay, so where we have taken some increase of staff because of the increase of the O&M order book, number one. Number two is there has been a shift between off-roll to on-roll. We have taken some of the employees who were there in the subcontract roles, we have taken in our role. So this number may not be proportionate to our revenue growth, okay, because being a fixed nature. But there is a slight increase because the business itself is increasing.
So lastly, when I look at your gross margin, this quarter gross margin has been pretty much at 27%, and this is probably at a level of what it was in FY20. So what has changed in last 1 year? Gross margin has improved this particular quarter. Why has it improved in this particular quarter only?
No, see, that's two reasons. One is like the execution moment is increasing. So Number one, so that your fixed cost is not proportional to your execution because that to some extent is constant. Okay. Number one. Number two, the business mix is like the volume, the contribution, and other verticals. It keeps changing. So with that, the change in gross margin will continue to be there.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Satyan Vada from Profusion Capital. Please go ahead.
I just wanted to check, once the MDO revenue starts, what sort of margin are you expecting from that?
Yeah. So this MDO, because it also needs some developmental cost and all. So it's too early to comment, but our internal estimate, it is going to be in the range of 18 to 21% at EBITDA level. That is what we have set up the target for output. Probably how to improve and all, we have to see once the ground activity starts and we start operationalizing the project. As of now, that is not the target, 18-21% we have kept.
So this revenue will likely start in financial year 25?
Yes, sir. It will start. 2.5 years is the ramping up period in terms of development. It will start from that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Himesh Rathod from SSR Charitable Foundation. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Just a simple question on what you mentioned in the last call. There was an opportunity of getting a project from the Jal Jeevan Mission. Could you give us a little bit more color in terms of what kind of margins does one compete for in the Jal Jeevan Mission project, and where are we standing on that particular project? I believe it was about 450 crores worth of project.
Which one is that?
Jal Jeevan. It's a UP one.
The Jal Jeevan Mission. Yes.
Yeah, Jal Jeevan. Yeah, that we have started that work already. Started. Revenues will start flowing from the second quarter itself. And then both the projects are about 2 years of duration. And yes, we got near margins about 12% there.
Okay. And what kind of competitive scenario are we experiencing there? Because I believe the opportunity would be a very large one going forward.
Yeah, in the drinking water scheme infrastructure, there is a amount of competition. There is an opportunity also. That is what it is. I think one of the calls I actually brought it out. There are many players in all these things.
Right.
Therefore, at least 10 to 12 players are there. All the infrastructure players will have a role there. And it is a normal job to be done to provide drinking water to household, villages and other things. It is a question of structuring a contract and then finding the partners and the local conditions, managing it. Therefore, yes, many leading players will be there in the infrastructure. Whoever are there, they're there in that.
Right. But are we still comfortable with our scheme of things in terms of the margin?
It depends on the circles and the areas and which are the parts of the states where and then the districts where it is these projects will come up and what is the feasibility of doing it. And accordingly, people will select it based on the comfort level of the doing these projects. That's how we had an opportunity in the UP. That's how these two projects we performed. Totally 982 crores.
Great, thank you. One more question. Would you be able to tell us what kind of projects you end up rejecting, just to understand the line of thinking in terms of how are we allocating our resources for?
The resources basically, one is a material resource, if it is a EPC or a material-based contract, or if it is a service contract, it is mostly HR strength what we have to build up. When the O&M, it is mostly engineering expertise, engineers and operation experiences. And in the case of installation jobs, the resources are mainly in the PRWs, insulate workers, contractors we engage based on the project size and requirement. And of course, all these works will be supervised and overseen by the Power Mech staff. That is the basic strength we have built up. In fact, today, direct headcount is around 15,000. Indirect headcount is around 15,000. Roughly 30,000. Therefore, these 15,000 around 10,000 takes care of the operation maintenance. That is a substantial portion of the manpower-related jobs. We are operating over 40 power plants. Balance 5,000 engineers, staff, and then supervisors and the experts and other things, other staff will be mainly for taking care of the execution of many of the projects, both in the mechanical side, civil side, and electrical side.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajneesh Mahan from Master Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. I have two questions. So one is regarding what is the net debt level that you are looking by the end of the year?
Sir, see, this year it may see 330 crores is the debt now. Okay, maybe another 30 crores it should come down. That is what we are planning. 35 or 40, that is the range.
Okay, so and how much are this 280 crores that you said you will be spending for this MDO project? Or how much will be this year?
So this year, see, the idea is to keep the approach in place because the biggest milestone is the land acquisition that's in place. Out of 1,100 hectares, it's almost 840. Now the next milestone is the approval, so 6 to 8 months. So till that time, we'll be spending more towards facilitating all these works and the ground clearance, fine plan and all. So at a higher level, may not be more than 5 to 6 crores during this year.
Okay. And so second question is regarding like you already have 7,000 crores of order and you're expecting around 4,500 orders. So next year, can you give some type of guidance that let's say this year you're saying around 2,800, 3,000 crores. So what is the next year's target that you have set revenue-wise?
The idea is to have a conversion of minimum 37 to 38% plus to our backlog. That's the plan what we have kept. So maybe if you see the trend past few years, the execution to the backlog is almost like 40 to 42%. Okay, so 37-38% conversion is quite comfortable.
Okay.
I think we should exceed 3,000 crores to 22-23.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Deepak Poddar from Sapphire Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. Now, sir, you just mentioned about 37 to 38% conversion of order backlog. So I presume with 4,500 crores of order inflow and maybe 2,800 crores kind of execution, we will end the year with 9,200 kind of a maybe order backlog. So 3,500 crores to 3,600 crores is what would be a fair level of execution level that we might target next year?
Yeah, it depends. See, the idea is 37% plus. Now, the additions to normally what happens is by the time we get an order, okay, and it gets fully operationalized at the ground level, it takes 2 to 2.5 months. So with the order book, what targets we have kept? So definitely it should be 3,000 plus what Mr. Rame was trying to say. Okay. So the inflow to the execution maybe it depends quarter three how much we're adding and quarter 4 and how much we're adding. Okay. So the lag of 2 or 2.5 months. Considering that, we should be comfortable. We should be able to target that percentage.
Yeah. So 3,000 crores seems to be a conservative number for FY23, right?
See, in terms of now, see, sir, PowerMac, any order we take, okay, in terms of execution as per the contractual targets, we are on, okay, that's the PowerMac. So execution, I think, shouldn't be a problem, sir. Now, okay, what quality orders and all we are adding, so that shouldn't be it's very difficult to specify its number, but as a percentage, yes, we'll try to work on that.
Okay. Okay, understood. And when you mention we'll target 14 to 14.5% medium term, so we are talking about what, 2 to 3 years, or a shorter period?
Yes, sir, you are right.
And 12 to 13% maybe in 1 to 2 years. The back to normal margins that you mentioned.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, fair enough. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And all the way best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last question for today, which is from the line of Faisal Hawa from SG Hawa & Company. Please go ahead.
So a lot of these thermal plants may not, be operational in years to come, and there may not be even more opportunity in setting up more thermal plants. So are we moving into any kind of EPC for solar or any kind of operational maintenance for solar also?
Yeah, see what we have done now,
or wind power for that matter?
Yeah. What we are trying to do is that, the focus has shifted to non-power. Of course, power is, where O&M we are doing it, and the residual works, what is there on the installation business, domestic and international market, and then the electrical side, whatever is the opportunity comes, transmission, distribution. But on the non-power side, I think the solar and wind power we are not targeting. What we are talking is some of the metal processing plants. I think there is a lot of investment coming up with the business opening up in the coal sector, and then iron ore business, and then coal business. And here, the investments in anywhere between 25 to 40,000 crores in the next couple of years. And that's where I explained about the partnership we are planning with 2 leading players, MNCs. One is Tyson Group, another is FL Smith. That is where, we would like to take up EPC jobs. The first EPC job what we have taken is at Kurnitar along with Tyson Group, which we have started the work. That experiment and this one we would like to repeat it in the future also for similar type of jobs. And there are a lot of opportunities coming.
And are we also trying to build up our own capability in planning and trying to take up best practices from Tyson Group, etc., so that our margin expand and 3 to 5 years we may be able to do the entire job ourselves rather than going for a joint venture?
I think that is a very good question what you asked. In fact, what we look at it is that the partnership with both the companies will improve our working also, because they are professionally multinational companies. They bring a lot of best practices. Therefore, in a way, it is a good learning and good understanding of pushing the projects, and they are very focused in project management delivery system, and their control system, project control systems are far superior to many of the players in the peers. Therefore, there is a definite amount of benefit, and it is not only that, we are responsible to each other. That means, if they are responsible for the delay from their side, then they have to take the hits and all. If we are responsible for the delay, we have to take the hits. That's why there is a lot of responsibility interested in these contracts when the consortium agreements are signed, and we cannot afford any nuisance there.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as this was the last question for today, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Mayank Bhandari for closing comments.
Yeah, we thank the management for taking time out and sharing their valuable insights on this call. And we also thank all the participants for their presence. Sir, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, Ramaya.
Yeah, I think what we should do is sustain the momentum, and focus should shift to conversion, better conversion, improve the margins to the extent possible, barring the COVID issues. And then keep focus on our customer relationship and the new relationship what we establish with our partners, that we have to sustain it in many cases. This is going to be a new business model which we have to take it forward for better growth and all. I think that is what it is. We would like to have continuous growth in the next couple of years.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of Nirmal Bang Equities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.